So there's been a lot of internal fighting and broigus in the Ontario Freedom Movement parties between New Blue and Derek Sloan's party, Ontario Party, and we're here to explain why none of that really matters. Now, Derek Sloan did like a response podcast with Mike Thiessen in response to a podcast Jim Karahalios did with us on TNT Live. And I thought Wyatt would be a good guy to bring onto this particular video because a lot of people don't know you basically invented Derek Sloan.
Just kidding. We're not saying literally. So I brought him up from the ashes.
Wyatt, we had to like the team at National Telegraph had to consistently tell Wyatt, okay, like stop it with the Derek Sloan, scroll back on the thing. So you for free, out of the kindness of your heart, you were like helping his campaign and teaching him policy and all the issues.
I donated. I thought I donated. You could go look up it on Elections Canada.
No, you donated. He didn't pay. All I'm saying is he didn't pay you.
Yeah.
You paid him to help him. So you were like the number one Derek Sloan fan. So this comes from someone you can look up Wyatt's like articles like everything Derek Sloan did. Like Wyatt was like, he's doing this. He's doing this. So I became a Derek Sloan non-believer. Like I'm out the second he moved to Alberta and like had that stupid plan. I'm like, all right, I'm done. And I went ballistic when they kicked him out of the party on stupid means, and it was clearly an inside job, and blah blah blah. I did the whole thing, so it was BS. And when Sloan did things good, they were good. I said these are good ideas, and we should do them. Now Derek Sloan has terrible ideas, and I'm saying that they're terrible. So does it matter if he's being controlled by Doug Ford or not? No, in my opinion. The real thing is again, if you want the play-by-play, linked down is our podcasts with Jim, where he breaks his down. Derek Sloan's podcast, Mike Thiessen. But the real point is the Ontario Party sucks. It says it's against, radical left and it's going to save kids and education and blah, 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 blah. And then they voted for Bill 67.
But there's always an explanation on why it doesn't matter. Because supposedly Rick Nichols was knocking it out of the park as an MPP, and then as soon as he joined Ontario Party, or like right before he joined, that's when he started voting for critical race theory, and he didn't show up for Bill 100. But that's okay. It's okay, because he was knocking it out of the park. Do we have examples? No, but he was doing it.
Yeah, that's the thing. And then the thing was Rick Nichols originally said he didn't read the bill. It was 6 pages and it had equity in the title. So clearly Rick just needs to say I don't understand this issue I claim to stand on, and that's pretty much just an indictment of his capabilities as a politician. Then Derek Sloan, his thing on the thing was Rick read it and he didn't understand. It was a 6-page bill and said equity 50 times.
You'd be fined for racist activity, and it didn't even define it as a parent or a child in a school.
Yeah, and teachers had to pass anti-racism training to be allowed into the classroom. I'm sorry, so the I didn't read it is a much better excuse. Yeah, I just looked at the title and I didn't read it, and I was afraid.
Here's the funny thing, is that Rick Nichols claimed he didn't read it, and then in the podcast we just watched with Derek Sloan and Mike Thiessen, he claimed that Rick read it and didn't understand it because he was fooled by the flowery left-wing language, which I thought that they would have been against enough that they would have known what it was.
This is my point with the Ontario Party. The things Derek Sloan says in public, we're against this stuff. There's no real party there. Yes, it exists on paper, but there's no mechanism where people are reading what's going on in the legislature and trying to oppose it or deny it. Derek Sloan has no political knowledge now that Wyatt doesn't care about him anymore. It's an insider thing. So Derek Sloan is going around saying, the Ontario Party, we're a truckers' party. Okay, one of the horrible things that Doug Ford did to the truckers is he stole their money. And then he stole the truck. There's 39 trucking companies where he just stole it. Doug Ford just stole it under emergency powers he shouldn't have. Bill 100 makes those powers permanent. A truckers' party would show the hell up to the legislature and vote against this. Or do any sort of material like stop Bill 100. Instead of going around being we're going to stop the World Economic Forum. Which, yeah, bad. We're going to stop this in Ontario. Do something the Ontario Party should kind of be focused on Ontario issues like Doug Ford claiming dictatorial powers for life to steal your money and your trucks. Maybe that's something the trucker party should be in. This is my point. If Derek Sloan is controlled opposition or he's just really dumb, it doesn't matter. His ideas are stupid and his party sucks.
Every single thing that Jim Karahalios has said about this whole situation is basically just been an explanation for why there's a party that just popped up out of nowhere who is attempting to win, who, when I say not attempting to win, not running candidates everywhere, has almost no EDAs, and is trying to make random, backroom or
this is another thing where
run part of the party is going to run up north, and then the New Blue gets to run down south, and then stops at the sex ed curriculum party is going to run out east. It's a stupid idea. It doesn't work. It doesn't matter.
That's what I was trying to say.
It doesn't matter what your motivation is. That's stupid.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say and Jim was like, "No, Daniel, let me explain." So I'm like, I'm going to let Jim go off because I love that stuff, and hopefully my audience does too. But for the most part, people just need to know it's a stupid. Like Derek Sloan's like, we're going to all work together. That's a terrible way to run a party. Like when two parties work together in Ontario, they're not twice as powerful. They're half as effective. Because like branding, right? If you were like, let's all get behind the same thing, New Blue, right? That way, New Blue branding, if you're doing great in Cambridge with the New Blue and someone's watching from Thunder Bay, it's the same thing. It translates. But if you like the Ontario Party and you're watching it doesn't translate outside because it's a bad idea to have three different parties all running against each other, right? If you all agree, right? Like Derek Sloan's my favorite thing is like, people said I wasn't with the PPC, but I endorsed the PPC in every other riding I wasn't running in. It's like, why? Then just join the PPC. Like,
well, the foolish thing too is that it's like he's the guy going around saying, "Well, I just want unity. I just want all these 45 different parties to work together in a unity coalition." And it's as absurd as you might as well turn it into a George Orwell line where like a division is unity. The more we divide up voters into random tiny regional parties, the more unified we're going to be. And that's where again,
so none of us reach certain thresholds to qualify for debates or any of things. Yeah, it's a really dumb. Derek Sloan has really, really dumb political ideas. Like, why? I don't know why. Like, is Wile E. Coyote paid opposition created by the Looney Tunes Corp to never catch the Roadrunner, or is he just really, really bad at catching the Roadrunner? The point is, kids, if you want to go hunting, do not strap yourself on a giant rocket and then light it. That's not a good, that's the point. So why is Wile E. Coyote doing it? It doesn't matter. The point is that's not how you should go hunting. And this is the same thing. The way Derek Sloan runs political parties is like strapping yourself to a rocket, lighting it, and trying to catch the Roadrunner. It's going to blow up in your face because it's really dumb. That's the point. The Ontario Party says they're for truckers. They can't vote in favor of the truckers. They say they're against radical leftism. They vote for radical leftism. They don't focus on any substantive Ontario issues. They're just giving you slogans like, we're against the World Economic Forum, which is like, great, I'm against the World Economic Forum. How would I be against the World Economic Forum? Well, I would want to oppose certain legislation in Ontario that promotes things like social credit systems or ESG or financial controls or Bill 100, which gives the government the authority to just financially, unilaterally interfere in financial matters of private citizens under Emergency Act. That's what the World Economic Forum could institute a social credit score and ESG thing through Bill 100. So when you want to LARP around being like, we're against the World Economic Forum, great. How are you going to do that?
Hey, whoa. Rick Nichols knocked it out of the park that last year. I was told by Mike Thiessen that he was knocking it out of the park.
The thing with Rick Nichols, he got kicked out of the Conservative Party, right, because he wouldn't get vaccinated?
Yeah.
And so here's the thing. It's like, this is I hate people like this, where it's like, oh, Rick Nichols was quiet on these issues when it only applied to you, and you not being allowed to do things as unvaccinated people. And only when it affected him, and he got kicked out, then he did that.
But then he doesn't even follow up. He's mad about it, and he's really mad that people are having to be vaccinated now to keep their jobs as soon as it affects him. But he still doesn't show up for Bill 100, so it only lasts about 5 minutes, then he goes back to sleep.
And both of us got vaccinated, and then spoke on these issues consistently of vaccine. I wouldn't use my vaccine passport, even though I qualified for one because I thought it was wrong, and it was used to discriminate against other people. So we were, even though we had gotten vaccinated, we were still standing with the civil liberties of those who didn't. And guys like Rick Nichols, just he was quietly not doing it, was totally fine with Doug Ford until it affected him personally. So this is why Rick Nichols sucks. Derek Sloan sucks at leading political parties. The Ontario Party sucks. That's the point. It doesn't matter why. All that matters is that they suck.